Okay, so Will,
Okay.
you like you and I think you and I both kind of like short form like horror stories.
Okay.
So I got a good one for you. Okay? So picture this.
Okay.
There's a
Okay.
bunch there's a bunch of Russians and they're driving down a dirt road. So now there's these teenagers Model T come racing down the road with these Russians. The Russians veer off. They get to Area 51, shoot their way into the base. They open
Wow.
their trunk, right? And now you're thinking, wow, this is serious. Russians on U.S.
Yeah.
soil. You can see how this is already going,
Yeah.
pretty creepy. So now they're at Area 51, where there's all this technology and secrets, right? So they open the trunk and they pull out a guy, and now you're thinking, this guy, he must know some stuff, inside stuff, right?
Yeah.
That guy's a nobody. Don't worry about him. You don't
Oh,
know
okay.
that guy. Okay. Now they pull out
Okay.
this other guy, this older guy, dressed up.
Okay.
He's dressed up like Indy. Now you're thinking, maybe that's the fashion choice, something like that. And then you see the name Lucasfilms presents. And then you see Steven Spielberg. And then you see written by George Lucas. And then you wake up and you go, oh my God. That was a bad nightmare. That was a crazy nightmare.
I was close.
That was close, right? Yeah. But here's the thing. That actually happened. And so
Yeah.
tonight on the Nerd
It's a
Holes,
living
we are
nightmare.
covering Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
No.
I want to know everything about the Crystal Skull.
Everything.
So, so all right. So obviously that's a little bit extreme, and
Sure, 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 sure.
we kind of came into this going kind of like hating on Crystal Skull.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, and so here's the thing. So we watched the Crystal Skull, and not as bad as I remembered it to be completely
Same,
frank. Yeah.
same.
There are probably 3 to 4 things for me that are
Yes.
just completely unacceptable
Yes.
as far as
One
an
of them,
Indiana Jones universe movie.
one of them, I may be able to end your misery about
Yeah,
as a fan theory, but the other three, no.
you can't.
I,
So here's the thing. Here's the kicker, right? We love
yeah.
sci-fi.
Yep.
We love sci-fi. We love UFOs. We love aliens. We love
Yep.
all that
Yep.
stuff, right?
Yep.
I love history. I love the mystery of the crystal skulls that were actually found in like, Peru and, here on Earth. Like, really. I love the mystery of all that stuff. All that stuff is fine. I can let all that stuff go. It's it seems like now that we've watched Indiana Jones in progression, we've seen like he finds crazier and crazier things, right? So
Yep.
Ark of the Covenant, then he finds the cup, right?
Yeah.
And so you're like, okay, man, all these things are supernatural. All these things are crazy. So now what's the next logical jump? Well, it's obviously aliens. It's aliens. And it's
Yeah.
like, okay, it's a jump the shark moment. It's fine. It's whatever.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
and I think honestly, if it just ended there, it would be whatever. But at watching this movie, I was left with, where are they possibly going to go from here? What could
Yeah.
they possibly do
Yeah.
from here?
Yeah. 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 Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you go ahead. I've been talking. You go ahead. You tell me some tell me some of the things that you like, and then we'll go into the 3 unforgivable Crystal Skull sins.
So, so, okay, pretty easy. I can, I can honestly hang in there from in the movie
Yeah.
until about um right around the time they're cutting through the Amazon in the caravan of cars.
Bingo. Okay.
I can, there's some stuff that happens.
Mhm.
Obviously, the nuclear explosion thing I'll talk about, but
Yeah, we'll cover it. Don't worry.
but I mean, really, when you look at like the other Indiana Jones stuff, it's pretty similar-ish,
Yeah.
ish.
Yep.
And it wasn't, I don't know, I like the racing kids in the beginning is like weird, but I
Yeah.
think it was just Steven Spielberg like really trying to like ham. It was almost like Steven Spielberg really wanted to make like a 1950s movie, like a Happy Days.
Yeah.
Oh no, he wanted to make like a Happy Days, and somebody was like, "Listen, we're not going to give you the money to do a Happy Days movie, Steven, but we'll give you
Mhm.
money to do an Indiana Jones." And he was like, "All right."
Got
And
it.
I think that's kind of
What
what it
about
felt like.
groundhogs? Anybody care about
That's
ground?
Lucas. You know that that's
Yeah.
Lucas.
Oh,
That is
100%. It's
absolutely.
all a part of my original groundhog vision.
How about if everything was cute and cuddly?
What if there were groundhogs everywhere?
um, yeah, it was honestly, yeah, like you said, like I was surprised, and I tried really hard to like really follow the line, like the next beat. Okay, this piece of dialogue is
Yeah.
given. Okay. Honestly, one of the two strongest scenes before all the Amazon cutting through the Amazon stuff, the two strongest scenes that I thought were really, really good is um, number two being his interaction with with Mutt in the like soda
Mhm.
shop. That
I
and
love
the
all of
no,
that.
yeah, yeah,
Like the motorcycle chase through the library is great.
yeah,
And Shia
exactly.
LaBeouf in this movie is fantastic as far
He's
as like I'm
totally
concerned. He's
fine.
great.
Yeah. And this for number one, the best thing is him after he's getting scrubbed, when he's getting scrubbed in the thing, the decon thing, and then
Yeah.
he's talking to the agents and the other
I
guys
like
come
that.
in. You get all of this like really fascinating backstory about Indiana Jones, that
Yeah.
like he served in World War II, and like now he's a colonel. He's not just a professor.
Yeah.
And
But you know what's sad
I don't
about
know.
that
Hmm.
is I would rather watch those stories unfold,
Wow.
you
Wow.
know?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
But yeah,
But
yeah, I
I
forgot about
liked
him being like a colonel.
yeah, and I liked the whole him talking about the 1947 Air Force fiasco. He talks about
Yeah.
being put in the van and all
I
this
like
stuff, and then
that.
he's like
See,
angry and stuff about it. I liked all that stuff.
that is cool, right? Because like Roswell actually happened in
Right,
42.
right,
And like
right,
tying that in to the story is, to me, it's fantastic. It's great. It makes so much sense.
right. Yeah, I really enjoyed all that, and I liked the groundedness of it.
Hmm.
And I think the one character that was is unneeded. He just was too much. Was his
Yeah. Yeah.
whatever his
Whoever.
name,
Yeah.
whatever, I can't remember what his name was. Mac.
Yeah.
He was
The best
just
part
was
about Mac is when he gets his nose broken. That's the best part. It's
well,
just-
yeah, honestly, that scene is pretty good with him, and the one where he's telling the Russian guy, like he's screaming, "You don't know him! You don't know him!" And he's
oh
trying to
yeah,
get
in the
him
truck.
out.
Yeah.
That's like the only two good scenes.
Yeah. 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 He's kind of a background forced character, isn't he?
Yeah, it's just I don't know what the decision was there. It's like, why do you need bad
So
guys and a double agent? It's like,
you
or
don't a
not a double
triple,
agent.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah, it's
Yeah, it's like,
ridiculous,
why?
yeah. And the other thing, well, we'll get to it. So yeah, continue.
Yeah. So I mean, honestly, I up until then I was like, well, this is fine. I mean, honestly, it's just as disconnected and kind of strange as Temple of Doom. Like the
Honestly, yeah,
beginning parts. Like the beginning parts.
yeah,
It's fine. They're just as weird. And I mean, Indiana Jones, like we talked about it, like getting poisoned and then immediately like fighting and doing stuff. It's like he would drop. It's like it's fine. You
yeah,
suspend your disbelief
right,
why the Russians
yeah,
can't shoot him and all that stuff. It's like
yeah. They shouldn't have survived
it's
those
all
waterfalls, right? You let that go
oh well
because he parasailed into the into Peru on a inflatable
no, that's
raft
one of
too, and we let
the
that go.
the waterfalls is one of my originals.
That's one of your
Yeah.
yeah. See, no, see now there's so many others to me that like the waterfall by the time the waterfalls happen. That's
Well,
just
true,
that's just
true,
normal
but
plot. That doesn't even matter anymore.
I I feel like one of them was okay, but
Yeah,
three of them was
three
too much.
times it drops.
Yeah, it definitely does.
And they like over explain that too. And he's like, "What is
Yeah.
that?" And then he's like, "Well, I think that's one. That's two." It's like, "Oh, we got it. They're waterfalls. Three times it drops. Yeah, I got it."
Yeah.
Uh, that's
But
funny.
yeah.
So I think when we originally saw this, right? I think what it was is because I kind of had that in the beginning too. Like you said, the Happy Days racing
Yeah.
is obviously Indy is older. And I'm distracted by this. There's this bench. There's this bench over here, and when I move,
Yeah.
sometimes my other like chair pops into frame,
Oh.
and it looks like something's being like transported. They won't do it, of course, because I'm pointing it out. It looks like something's being like transported in from the ship. Okay, so because Indy is old, so Harrison Ford is older, obviously. So Indy has to be older.
Right.
So obviously the movie has to be set further into the future. And I think that's kind of what pulls you out of it at first is like seeing Indy in like a modernish 60s, what is 60s, 70s. It's supposed to be like, what year is it
I
supposed to be
think
set
late
in?
50s. It was like 1957, I think.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So being set in that kind of an era where you're usually we see Indy at like the school and then we see him in tombs. But when you see him in that like nuclear testing site and everything's like in color and there's like the clothes are on the line and like modern
Oh
TVs
yeah.
and it's just so like out of place
He did
seeing
feel really
him.
strange in that, didn't he? Yeah.
Doesn't he? And it still does.
Yeah.
It still feels really like straight
He has
because
like
even like
such
this,
mute.
yeah,
Yeah. I was just gonna say he has like super muted colors,
yeah,
right? Like his pants and his
and
hat and his shirt are
yeah,
very like
50s and 60s,
plain.
everything is like vibrant and square and like wood grain, and it's all like, you know,
Yeah. And then you get to that thing and it's like it's just very, yeah. I agree
yeah.
with you.
So
It's
it's
funny
like,
that
I
you
don't
say that.
know.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of pulls you out of it too, because, when you see him at the school and, that school is such an old building anyway that it kind of
Yeah.
fits the style.
Yeah.
And then as
Yeah.
soon as you see him in like grave sites and the tombs and that, like, that's fine. It's all fine. But I guess seeing Indy in like day to day life in that like timepiece is just so it's kind of weird, right?
Yeah.
He's outside with like the 57 Chevy, like Bel Air, and the guys
Yeah.
are out walking their lawns and they're wearing like tweed sweaters, and the mannequins. It's like it's weird. It's like Fallout era. It's like seeing Indian Fallout.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel right.
Well, I mean, I think literally from the third movie to now, I think they
Yeah,
jumped like 18 years or something like
yeah,
that, which is a lot. I mean, that would be like going from, now to like
yeah.
2005.
It'd be weird. Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah. So I think honestly that's kind of what pulls you out. But so rewatching it, I kind of let that go because
yeah,
now
I
it's
tried
been
to,
so much
yeah,
further in the future now that it kind of like that's not the stuff that like weirded me out.
no, right.
Did you catch my favorite like Fallout quote from the robot
Yeah,
guy?
yeah.
You catch the
I
protesters, the
immediately
big
saw you
sign,
when I saw it. I immediately thought
better
of you.
dead than
Then
red.
red.
Better
So
dead
good.
than
Yeah,
red.
I. Yeah, I know what you mean. I really honestly think that like Steven Spielberg
Yeah.
was really excited about doing like specifically 50s thing. I feel like he goes a
Hmm.
little too heavy with it.
American Graffiti, yeah, all that stuff. I
Right.
love that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like I don't know, it's like Mutt is very much like the
The
Fonz and
greaser, yeah, exactly.
it's like okay, and it's fine, which I understand that was that time period, but it's just like just a little heavy-handed on a lot of things.
Yeah, and it's one of those things too where like if Mutt was just kind of like a greaser dude, you'd be like, okay. but he's like
Right.
not. He's like sophisticated. He's smart. He's book read. He went to like private schools. He knows how to fence. It's like,
Right.
okay, none of this stuff. He's a dude in a jacket with a switchblade, and you're giving him like all this great like
Yeah.
prestige like background. It's like that's okay.
Well, I think we can agree that it seems like by making him have all of that like rich education and wanting
Yeah.
to possibly be an archaeologist,
Yeah, it's in
but
his blood.
having him have like this unique type of like attitude about things
Yeah.
was clearly them to be like, when we do give Shia LaBeouf the Indiana Jones mantle,
Yeah,
it's like you'll like him because he's all these things. It's very obvious that they were trying to
mm-hmm.
pass,
Yeah,
like literally him
totally.
at the end of the movie trying to put the hat on, and Harris, Indiana, taking it from him and then being like, haha, I still am wearing it, was
Mhm.
clearly like the studio must have been like, Shia LaBeouf's really big right now, we'll eventually get to use this kid a lot.
Yeah.
And then life changed.
So I guess that's kind of what I mean too, like going back to like what I originally said was going into Dial of Destiny. And I mean, like your theory makes sense too. Like it's like 10-15 minutes of the movie is in the future. So they can just kind of like negate everything that has happened in these movies so far.
Right,
because
right.
because now you go like a current Indiana Jones movie and like Shia LaBeouf won't be in it. And
I doubt Karen Allen will be in it as
yeah.
Marion.
So like they're married and like Shia LaBeouf is their kid, but like the new movie won't have anything to do with that because like they can't. So it's like that theory of like, oh, we have to
Or
go into the
literally,
past.
you literally know what's
Immediately.
going to happen is it's going to be, you know,
The
Henry
picture of Sean
Jones the
Connery.
third. Yeah, Henry Jones the third. He's going to be off with Oxley on some dig that he can't be a part of because he's too old. And Marion and him have divorced because, you know, yet
I
again
bet
they didn't work out their
I
relationship.
bet you they will not even acknowledge it.
You don't think so? Oh man,
It's been so
Man.
long too that I think they're probably banking on the fact that people don't even remember Crystals.
See, the only thing I can say is that with it being James Mangold, I like how he
He
did
probably will.
with Hugh Jackman, and they referenced all of the old X-Men stuff in subtle ways.
Yeah, yeah.
I honestly feel like we're gonna get a nod to every single movie because
Yeah,
I feel like
so
this is it.
you probably will. That's just me being cynical.
No. I mean, you could be very right.
I really do like in this movie in Crystal Skull, I do like that touch of like he sitting at the desk and he's saying like,
Yeah,
it's been a crazy year, you know. First it was my dad and then Marcus.
Yeah,
And I was like, oh man, that's kind of a cool touch. He's got a picture of both of them on his
yeah.
desk. And you kind of
And
get
at
to
the
like
end of the
see that
movie,
like he had a good relationship going forward with his dad after Last Crusade.
Yeah.
You know, like I like that a lot.
And I think I liked at the end of, you know, it wasn't just a throwaway thing because then he was like, somewhere your grandpa's laughing. It's like he
We
didn't
call
have
him
to say
Junior.
that. Yeah. It's like that didn't need to be in the movie. Like why? Who cares, right? But it's like there was a specific Sean Connery
Yeah.
like making his dad real, like a real person, which I like.
It's cool. It's a little ridiculous that she named him Henry.
Yeah.
It's a little
Yeah.
it's a little on the nose, you know.
Also his, you know, Indiana names himself Indiana because of the dog, and then his son's name is Mutt. I was just
Oh
like,
my
that's a little on the
God.
nose. It's a little on
I
the
didn't even
nose.
I like just that was just right over my head. You just said that. I was not even paying attention. I honestly forgot that his name was Mutt until like I saw your name pop up on here. And I was like, oh yeah, that's right. Mutt.
Yeah. I actually forgot that he was Henry Jones Jr. the third. Or Henry Jones the third, not Junior's.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty good.
so we agree. So this is what we like. Let's do the things we like.
Mm-hmm.
I like, and so we're gonna go beat for beat. I
Yeah.
liked the gunpowder gun shells looking for the thing.
Yeah. For as much
like
as I
that
was making fun of the intro, like I do really like seeing Area 51 and like the Ark of the Covenant and how they find the the box that the alien is in is great. Like I love that. The Area 51 crash retrieval
Yeah.
is pretty sweet.
I like that how he puts it together because he doesn't know why he's there. He's like, I don't know what this building is, and it's true. He probably never has.
Yeah, no,
why.
it's a classified American.
He's like,
yeah.
it's like, and I liked all that stuff. It was good, and I like it. And then like you're saying, her cutting the thing and the steam, and I like how, uh, Steven Spielberg didn't do the thing where it's like this thing is magnetic only when it is convenient. He really thought about it, like their guns and her sword and their dog tags and like weird things are gonna move. And I liked all that stuff.
There's a couple, yeah, I really do too. To be a little like critical too, it's like there's a couple.
No, go ahead, yeah, please.
There's a couple things here. It's like if it's such a strong like magnet to pull like shotgun shells and like gunpowder through the air.
Yeah,
and like I like the scene where the crowbar like sticks to it and they pull it off, but like I don't know if you'd be able to pull the crowbar off that thing, like how strong it was. Probably. And then when they're carrying it, you can see like her sword clips to it, but like they all have like their rifles on their back and they're just stationary on their back. I noticed like they don't like pull it in, their guns would be like stuck to it while they're carrying it. That's like the only thing I noticed was a little like just have those guys not have guns,
I definitely was trying to, like you're saying, I definitely was trying to look for all the like, okay, what thing is not being magnetized right now, essentially.
But the trail of stuff like on the ground was cool.
Yeah. So that's good. I liked all that. I liked the escape stuff. That was very Indiana Jones, actually. I really had liked him getting away and running through the rafters and all that.
Yep, I did too.
Even falling into like the weird rocket test thing and fighting the guy. It really wasn't that. It really wasn't that anti-Indiana Jones. It was pretty.
No, you know what I thought immediately? I it's kind of like the running joke of the Nerd. I was immediately like, "Hey, isn't this the one where they're in? They go through the tube on that." They go through the oil, pipe on the. I immediately was like, "Oh, this is the James Bond movie that I remember." Yeah,
I liked all that. That was fine.
That's not gimmicky. To me, that's not gimmicky. That's that makes sense. It kind of like tells you the time period too.
Yep. It was the tough big guy who was always fighting him in the movies, and he's whipping the chain at him. It was totally fine. So
because that already has happened chronologically, when you first see like that big Russian dude, you're like, okay, Russians.
Yeah,
got it. And then she gets out of the car with her little bowl cut and her glasses. You're like, oh my God. I'm like, really? So here's the thing is like, I will never understand why you cast an Australian actor to play a fake Russian accented woman. Like, why? I just don't get it. Like, and she's a fine actor. I'm not saying she's
fine,
bad.
right? Yeah,
she's a good actress. But the thing is like you got all these other Russians. Like those other guys, he's clearly Russian. You can tell by looking at him. And then it's like that her Russian accent is just.
I mean, wouldn't it have made
so bad? It's so
much more sense. Get rid of Mac, right? Or make Mac die in the opening thing.
Yeah.
Right. Like just like he's in the other movies, he's had his other buddies like they show up and are murdered immediately.
Yeah. Right.
Okay. So Mac is killed. In the end, he's like, "I'm not going to help you. You're Russians." And then they're like, "Blam!" And he's just like, "Okay, how do you feel about that?" And then he's like, "Well, he doesn't want to get killed." So
yeah.
And just have her character, just have her be a whatever you call it, like a the thing that they were accusing Indiana of being in the interrogation room, like a person who supports
like a
Russians.
spy. Yeah.
And just have her be like a British person or an American and who's sided with the Russians in America, and that's how they got into the building. Like, don't make her this crazy like Russian.
Well, it's like, but even if that's your story, her whole point was that she was like psychic intelligence or whatever.
She was like Stalin's like number 1 or number 2 person in like psychic warfare.
Yeah. So that's whatever. That's fine. But cast
Whatever,
a
right, yeah.
Russian actress. There's many good Russian actresses. Like just cast somebody that's Russian.
Yeah.
And it's like, whatever.
Yeah.
But I just feel by the end of the movie, I just was so sick of her like accent.
Yeah.
Specifically, it
She's
just
very
was so.
cartoonish.
Yeah,
She's
it's
very
just
cartoonish. Yeah.
yeah, it was just kind of over
Especially
the top
when the
after
other
that.
guys aren't, when the other villains in the other movies aren't, right?
Yeah.
They're very like they're that character, you know.
Well, that one German guy, he's pretty like over the top as far as like German for a little
But he
bit,
didn't
not the whole movie
but
either.
but I feel like it's good. I feel like it lends to the movie because
Yeah.
you always want there because you had like the normal like, well, he's not going to like this, blah 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 blah. And then you had the like, oh yes, I don't know, you know. Like I think he just complimented the thing. I always
I
thought growing up
burnt
as
the
a kid he was
medallion
Elton
on.
John.
Oh yeah,
I always thought he was. I was like, hey, Elton John's in Indiana Jones.
yeah, that's pretty cool.
So
Changed
okay,
my
so
mind.
that change your mind. Yeah. So that's fine. Fine.
Yeah.
We talked about a decontamination scene.
Yeah. So
Always
to get
highlight
there, but to get to that scene,
okay.
that the whole like the nuclear test site is it's fine.
It's fine.
Again, it tells you the time period, tells you what's going on.
Yeah.
That
I don't
fridge,
even mind him coming across the test thing.
Yeah, no, not at all. No, not at all. That like fake neighborhood is kind of funny, it's one of those things where he goes, "Oh, this isn't going to be good. This isn't, that's
Yeah.
classic like indie,
Yeah.
But like, I don't care if that fridge is lead lined, like they zoom in on that door. First of all, that door wouldn't stay shut from the inside. You wouldn't be able to hold it open. You would fly out of it. It's just the whole fridge thing is just so ridiculous.
And this is my one thing I can say.
Yeah.
So I think on Mythbusters or somewhere they proved that
is this the one thing you're going to try to prove me on?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd rather you try to prove me on the monkeys.
No. Okay, ready? Stick with me.
Yeah.
Holy Grail.
Monty Python.
Last Crusade. And
get out of here.
Listen, just hold on.
I already disproved it.
So remember the Knight's brothers who left
Get out of here.
didn't have immortality, but they lived a really long time, which means that they had some sort of residual after drinking.
Okay.
So the only thing I could say is maybe the blunt trauma and radiation poisoning that he would experience was healed by the Grail. That's the only thing I can say.
It would have to. Well, let's just I'm gonna just tell you, it would have to be because okay, so the fridge thing is ridiculous, and then it just opens, when he's out. Okay, stupid, horrible, right? I'm a Fallout guy, right? So the Pit Boy, right? He's doing this with his thumb. Yeah. He's got his thumb outstretched, and that is because if the blast mushroom is bigger than your thumb, if your hand is fully outstretched, you are in the radiation like area.
Right.
And it's really bad. It's really bad for you,
Like real
Harrison Johnny Indiana Jones is like what 100 miles away,
maybe half a mile,
maybe not even.
I would say.
And it's like the mushroom cloud is, you can't even see the top of it from where he is. So it's like he is in like direct like radiation fallout. And it's like the next scene they kind of tell you like, oh yeah, he's radioactive. The Geiger counters are going off while they're cleaning him. They can't decontaminating him. And you're like, okay, but like at that distance, I think you would have like severe like radiation burns, and like the sickness would like kill you pretty quick.
I think so.
I don't think you'd be worried about getting brushed with brush. I don't think that'd be his concern.
I don't. I really don't get it. Do you understand it?
No.
to me, the thing that would have made a lot more sense was just have him get in the car. And instead of having the car be enveloped by the explosion, he just gets away.
Right, because like you kind of think, okay, so that scene is literally just to get him in the room to do like exposition of like he is a general, or he's with the
Right.
military, he's got his friends in the military, he's a military person. They want to question him why he was there, why he helped the Russians. I get that, but he
Right.
could still go to that meeting.
Yeah, I mean, he could just drive down the road, and then the military just shows up because they see bodies, essentially, or see cars leaving, or whatever. It's not that hard. I literally do not understand why. It doesn't make
Oh,
any sense. And it's not like the other stuff you suspend your disbelief on, right?
yeah.
It's like, well, lightning's not going to come out of this thing and melt people's faces. Okay, I'll suspend my belief.
Yeah, but that's
It's
not.
like I can't reach into a guy's chest and take his heart. Like, okay,
But
I'll
that's so
suspend.
different.
Right? No, I know. That's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah, I know
that's
where you're
so,
going.
and it's
Those
like,
are
but this,
those are like the supernatural part of the movies,
right?
right? This is like grounded in reality. This is like all reality stuff. We haven't even gotten to the
Yeah, and
supernatural eyes burning out of your socket stuff yet,
right, and I read that like Steven Spielberg wanted it in the movie because he wanted to supposedly show the horrors of the nuclear bomb. And I was like, okay, I get it, dude. Like the nuclear bomb was awful, but like you made it look foolish.
Yeah, you made it look stupid, and you put it in an Indiana Jones movie. This is
It's just
Steven Spielberg, who's done like war movies and war documentaries, and like
yeah,
do that if you really want to show. It's ridiculous. It's cartoony. It's over the top. It's
yeah,
unrealistic. It's goofy. It's goofy.
yeah. It really is. I
It's
don't
just like
understand it.
what? And then again, the groundhog. You got to be there when the fridge opens. The
Yeah,
groundhog's
yeah,
there.
yeah,
Got to have a groundhog. There. You're like,
yeah.
what the heck? So I remember when we saw this movie, a bunch of people went before us, and they're like, well, George Lucas and Steven Spielberg, they love weird groundhogs, they love man-eating bugs, and they love monkeys. And I was like, what does that even mean? And then I saw the movie, and I said, yeah, that's true. They do all that.
They do love all those things. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I don't know. That was the only thing I could say was like, well, maybe he was like, well, the Grail could heal him or something. That was the only thing I could
I
think of.
don't know. I don't know. I
But
mean, that's
I
just,
think right now, if we could say to Steven, like, what would you do? I don't think he would stick to his guns and say, like, no, it's a fine scene. I think he would change it.
oh yeah,
I think retrospectively, I think it's one of those things that like if you and I had what do you call it, like a home video camera,
yeah,
and we were like, oh man, Caleb, listen, here's our treasure hunter guy that we've done. Your
yeah,
name is Duke West, and we love, and that's your
yeah. It
guy.
is.
And it was like, hey man, you know what would be awesome is what if your guy survived a nuclear blast? And it's like a little 10-year-old, 9-year-old thing to do with your toys. Is like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
my hero guy can withstand any type of thing that happens to
Yeah,
him. And
he's got
that's
a
like what you
perk. He's
get.
got a radiation perk.
Yeah. It's like,
Oh, you can
and,
eat 10% more radiated dandy boy apples without getting radiation poisoning. Like, perfect.
yeah, it's a really honestly a weird decision, and I don't understand it.
It's kind of a weird thing to defend too, for him to
It is.
defend.
Oh,
It's almost like I want to go to him and be like, okay, so Jaws 3D, defend that. Tell me what the horrors of keeping a shark in captivity, what is that, what that's about, the horrors of keeping a great white in captivity for people to see at SeaWorld.
yeah.
What is that about? No, because Blackfish, the documentary, did that. They already did that much better. It's like that's the same reasoning, right? Like, oh, this is about the horrors of war. Okay.
Is it?
Well,
I thought it was about Crystal Skulls.
it's about the horrors of CGI and refrigerators. I'll tell you that. They sure don't make fridges like they used to. That's pretty bad.
You know what's a really funny thing about this? I don't know how it would connect to Indiana Jones, but it's a real thing.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
I don't remember who did it. So Robert Zemeckis and Bob Gale created Back to the Future,
Yeah.
and I don't know if it was one of those guys or somebody else. Honestly, the original concept of Back to the Future was a refrigerator. It wasn't a DeLorean. It wasn't a car. You would go
Was it
into the
really?
fridge. It really was. You
Wow.
would go into the fridge, and
That sounds like
that was the time machine.
that sounds like those guys were watching too much Doctor Who,
Something.
right?
And the
'Cause
reason it didn't go-
isn't that what Doctor Who
Oh.
reminds you of? Like the TARDIS,
Yeah, absolutely.
phone booth going in. Yeah.
Yeah. But the reason they didn't go forward with it is they were like, well, if we can't do that because the children are going to try to go in fridges and
Oh,
get
and
stuck
die,
and
yeah,
blah blah
yeah.
blah blah blah. So then they moved on from the idea, and I know
Well,
Steven
yeah.
Spielberg oversaw that movie, and I'm almost like, is this like some weird?
Is it a nod to it? No, it doesn't. It doesn't even remember that was a thing. And then what makes that scene stupider too? And yes, stupider is not a word, I know, but so that general guy comes in the room and he goes, "Oh, Indy, I thought I told you that you shouldn't play in refrigerators. I thought I told you that it's dangerous to go in fridges." Like, dude,
Those things are death traps.
why are you still talking about the fridge?
Like, go move,
Like, move. Story, move on. Yeah, go. Russians, remember there's Russians on U.S. soil. Let's go. Let's go.
I read online once, you know how they said that Fonzie going water skiing over the shark,
Yeah, jumping the shark.
jump the shark, right? I've heard that since that was the old way of saying it, and now they call it nukes the fridge or whatever.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fallout 4 put a reference in. There's a place on the map.
Did.
There's a place on the map. Well, I guess there's kind of two. There's a place on the map where there's a refrigerator and it's open and it's just a skeleton like laying outside. Yeah, with the fedora, yeah. And then there's that other kid that survives a nuclear blast that, he's a ghoul, but he's still alive in the fridge. He's been locked in the fridge for 100 years.
Yeah, I think one is New Vegas and one is 4.
No, they're
right?
both 4.
Oh, they both really wow. Okay.
Yeah.
You should, if you can find them, you should put them down below.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because that one with the bones in it always made me laugh.
Mm-hmm. I think they did Aunt and Uncle Beru too. There's like a house and there's like two burnt skeletons out front of the door.
Yeah.
No disintegrations.
No disintegration.
Okay. So moving forward. You meet Shia LaBeouf. They go through the bike chase.
That's all good. I like all that stuff. I like the new guy. I like the new Marcus Dean guy. He was fine.
Yeah, he was fine. Yeah.
Yep, that was good. And
I like that Indy gets fired because he's never at the school.
Yeah.
But it was really because, hey, the KGB's looking through your stuff and we don't want anything to do with that.
Right.
Okay, what about the fact that he's never here teaching and doesn't grade papers?
That's fine. That's totally
You would think when Marcus got fired, Indy would have been out of there. Like Marcus let you pass, buddy. We're not letting you pass. You're out of here. You're gone.
True. So,
but then, like you said, it doesn't really get crazy until.
No, I liked them going to
prison.
Where do you go? Peru?
They go to Peru,
and I like him talking to him in the market and meeting with the nun and showing the cell and him figuring out the scribblings.
Cell is cool, right? Then all the carvings and stuff is cool.
The cemetery was cool.
The cemetery is great. Yeah.
The weird people guarding it is.
So were they supposed to be like the Mayan people from where the Crystal Skull ends up going? Is that what that was supposed to be?
No.
They don't really explain who those dudes are. They're just there.
I almost got the impression that they were just weird, people who just like to mess with people.
Well,
I,
because
I,
they're very much like trying to kill both of them. They got poison darts. It's like, what that? Like, what are these guys doing? Like, it's
maybe
like
they
you
were
said, they're
just
like,
maybe they were like Peruvian people who just were protecting like that site.
I don't know. It's kind of weird.
But the thing that's really cool, and I liked it, and I'm glad that you said it was very Uncharted. Him, as much as this doesn't have a lot of booby trap stuff as the
Yeah.
other movies do, him going in and then like cutting the guy open and then like finding the sword or the dagger and then finding the skull and stuff like that. I
Yeah,
loved
I
all
love
that stuff.
that.
That was like really, really good.
Even the part of the cave where he's climbing up, and the big
Oh,
Mayan
yeah.
like coin like tilts. Like
Yeah.
that's cool, you know.
Yeah.
But I like that scene because right, he throws those gold coins and it sticks to the
Yeah.
skull. And then he pulls the skull out and his switchblade sticks to it. And he goes, well, crystal quartz isn't supposed to be magnetic. And
Yeah.
Shia LaBeouf goes, yeah, either is gold. So it's like you're kind of seeing that there's more of a
It doesn't really matter, right?
weird,
Yeah.
there's a weird type of otherworldly
Yeah.
magnetic pull.
Something's happening here. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they capture him.
I think they set all that stuff up pretty well, honestly. But like,
Yeah.
to believe the alien thing at the end, I think they set that storyline up pretty well. They explain
Pretty decently.
they explain the skull, the stuff. I don't like the design of the skull. I will say that. I think
It is a little weird.
it's very much like resin with like tinsel foil like in the back of it to like make it like shiny. You can just
Yeah.
like I can just see it, you know.
Yeah.
But it's cool when you actually see the real alien like body that she has on the table, like the head.
Yeah.
You're kind of like, oh, okay.
Yeah. And I like all that. Him being captured, right? It's fine. They explain why Oxley is like crazy, and it's like because they did things to him, and they give you all the good backstory stuff, like why would he put the skull back, and why has he lost his mind, and why is Mac an evil person, and
Yeah.
why
Money.
would they kidnap Marion, and all that stuff. It was fine. He starts to lose his mind by looking at the thing.
I like when they
it was-
make Indy look at the skull. That's another
Yeah.
clue as to like, okay, there's actually something.
something's happening there, right?
Yeah. But I love that scene because he says when they let me out of here, I'm gonna break your nose. And then he like undoes the cuff, you know, after he passes out, and immediately punches him. And he goes, "You broke my nose." And he goes, "I told you." I told you. I love that.
You broke my nose.
Yeah.
I told you.
Enough.
The whatever what's he call it, the dry sand pit, that was fine.
I like when he's
funny.
explaining. Yeah. The snake. It had to be a snake. That's a pretty good callback.
Call it a rope. Just say it's a rope. Yeah, it was good. It was all fine. He brings them, and it's fine. And they cut to the back of the truck,
Mm-hmm.
and it's them cutting down the thing. And I was just like, okay,
That
it's
okay.
That was rough.
That machine
Right.
is like ridiculous.
Right.
It's ridiculous. It's like if they would have showed like the Germans having that, I'd be like, yeah, okay. But like the Russians come over here, you know, they go over to Peru or whatever, and they have this machine that's like it strips forests, it strips these giant trees, and then like makes it so the
Like a
ground
road?
is like pavable. Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
wow, that's an impressive machine. If only they use that for good and like, you know, road building and
Yeah, I was gonna say,
infrastructure.
like,
that
why
would be
aren't they using
amazing.
that,
Yeah,
like, anywhere else in the world.
this is
Oh,
ridiculous.
yeah.
The guy's just driving it.
When I saw that thing going through the things, I was like, no, that's
Dude.
right. This is not good. This is the bad part.
Oh, this is when it goes off the freaking right.
And I was like, oh gosh, I was just like, I could feel it coming. I could feel that like
Yeah, that cold chill. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, the monkeys are coming.
And okay, they fight the guy. That's fine. He blows up the blades, it cuts the
I like
trucks.
I like the rocket launcher part. That's
It was fine. I was okay with it.
yeah.
Then the chase sequence happens with the cars. Again, it was fine because it was very
Mhm.
reminiscent of Last
Yeah.
Crusade with the tank and
But it's
right.
more,
And
it's more chasing on Endor through the trees.
yes, yes, yes. And at first I hated the fencing thing at first, but then I was like, they kind of did set up that he could fence and he does play with a knife constantly. I'm like, it's
I
fine.
I can let that go.
Yeah, at first I was like, ugh, but then I was
Plus
like,
he
no, this is
gets
okay.
plus you get to see him get smacked in the junk repeatedly, which is pretty good.
Like over and over again
Yeah, I liked it.
after she made a offhanded young man comment to him, I was like, that's a little much. I think it was a little much to insult him that much. Like, hey, you're just a young man. You're you talk a big game, but then you finish quickly, and then it was like smack, 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 and I was just like, it's a little heavy handed. It's a little heavy handed.
Just do it.
Do it.
Yeah,
So
it's a little offhanded. It's a little offhanded. And
okay,
Marion,
it's like
Marion, like completely gets like taken out by a branch too. That scene.
yeah. Okay, I was like, whatever. Then Indiana can't say the word duck or look out or turn around or behind you. It's like, and it wasn't like he was like, oh, and then it caught him. He was like, I'm not having a hat, and he was like, what? And he turns around and then it catches him, and I was just like, oh, okay. When you've been through this whole movie, you constantly are like, run, duck, get down, move over here. You're like,
Mhm.
now you don't know anything. You have no idea what to say. He goes into the
No.
trees.
No clue.
He goes into the trees and he
Mhm.
sees a capuchin. Whatever.
Yeah,
I don't care. I don't care.
fine.
One
It's
vine
funny.
swing was
It's funny.
fine,
Yeah.
right? One vine
Just
swing.
the one monkey is funny. Like going up there, you're like, oh, okay, that's kind of funny.
I would have been fine if he just did one swing and landed back in the truck or something. Whatever.
But he keeps up with the car chase, vine swinging for the first time in his life, and then on top of that, now he's got like all these like capuchin best friends. Like now they're just like going with him, and
they're like, we also
rallying
hate the
behind him. Yeah,
Russians.
you need
And the
anything, you
thing,
just ask. We'll get rid of these Russians.
and the thing
It's
that
like,
makes no
what the
sense,
fuck?
right? You fast forward, the ants hate the skull, right?
Yeah.
Why don't the monkeys?
Well, you know why. It's not a part of my original.
Original vision. Every
Monkeys
time they
aren't
cut
scared
back
of
to
the
him making one more
skull.
vine swing, I was like, "You're killing me! You're
You're
killing
killing me,
me!"
Smalls. You're killing me.
That was really rough. They get through the thing, then you're right. They get to the ant thing, and I was just like, "What?" And then he was like, I think if Indiana said when they got out and the ants were coming out of the jeep or the car or whatever, and they were in mud or whoever says like, "What the heck are those things?" And Indiana goes, "No idea, never seen them," and they started to eat people and cover them. I would have been like, "Oh, geez, crazy Amazon ants that are eat people, right?"
Yeah.
But because he's like, "Oh, there's these type of ants," and then they're like,
Well, he doesn't even say it. He just says that they're big ants. You're
he
like,
says
okay.
they're called sea. He says them. He says what they are. It's like sifu, sayafu. He
Oh,
says them.
yeah. Which is like their scientific name for like bullet. I think they're supposed to be like bullet ants.
Yeah. Let me look it up here.
So the tribes over there, they have a ritual when you become a man. They make these big like grass like mittens, and they
Yeah.
fill them with bullet ants. And bullet ants are
Oh yeah.
yeah, they have a
Yeah.
sting
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
on like the pain index or pretty high up. What's that pain index? I can't remember what it's that guy's name that invented it. I can't think of it. But yeah, so they put their hands in these mitts that are full of these bullet ants.
Okay.
And like basically like if you survive, you're a man, you become a man. They're terrible. They're terrible. But they don't eat people, and they don't take you into their nest. That I know.
No,
Those are
I like
the bugs from the Mummy.
yeah
Those
the
beetles.
scarabs. Yeah,
Yeah.
it
Isn't
says
that funny? Isn't that funny that like that movie, The Mummy, has those scarabs, and like that's great. Like it's just great.
yeah, like that's not.
They're
I
going into
never
your
was like
skin. Like
that's
I love
stupid.
it. Love it.
Yeah.
But this movie, like these bullet ants come out, and you're like, this is stupid. This is
Okay.
ridiculous.
So I'm glad that you said that because my brain was like, I had my James Bond moment.
Yeah.
That was my mummy moment. So when they're in they just first get inside the actual like where they're seeing the aliens depicted
Yeah.
on on the wall. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? He's like, oh look, somebody came and taught them farming, right? Yeah, right. And all I could think of, I'm gonna do it poorly, but all I could think of was the heavy set
Mm.
Arabic guy in the Mummy, and when he sees the Egyptian thing, he goes, "Allah!" He
Ah,
looks at the thing.
yeah, oh my
Yeah.
god. That's so funny.
All I
That's
thought
the
was
guy who gets the
that.
scarab in his head, right? And he runs in the
Yeah, yeah.
wall. Yeah.
I thought,
That's
is
oh
that this
man.
movie? I go, oh no, that's not this movie.
No,
That's
no, that's way too ridiculous to me. You know what I thought was funny about that is like so obviously like cave paintings and stuff are not like super accurate, right? But he's got the
Sure.
skull and he holds the skull up and the shadow
Yeah.
cast on thing, and it doesn't even match. It doesn't
No.
even match. It's so
And
different.
the thing that was also funny about it too is he's holding it up, right? He's like holding it. He's like trying to get the shadow right. He was like, well, maybe here. You're laughing because he really does. That's what makes it.
Oh, he does. No, he turns it like twice. He's got it like this, and he's like, oh.
Maybe it matched perfectly, and John Hurt just had no idea how to make that thing shine on the wall, right?
Oh my god.
So,
oh, Ooh, that's funny.
the ant thing was cool. I like the fact that the ants hated the skull.
Mm.
And I like the fact that it was like a weird jungle thing was happening. I like the idea of it.
Why did
what
the
was
Russians?
actually
Why did the Russians feel the need that they had to rappel down the wall? Why didn't they just drive away?
I
No
also
idea.
wondered the same thing.
Yeah.
I was
'Cause
like,
even Marion's like, oh, we obviously have to jump this cliff into the water. Like that's the river that they were trying to get to. I get like that's the river on the map, the Sleep. You know,
Yeah.
the river was called Sleep. But like,
yeah,
you can just drive alongside the river.
like clearly
Even to the
their
point
their
where
goal
Oxley
was
was
not
like,
to go to that
last time I came down on the path.
on the path.
Why did they just drive? Okay, never mind. So
Yeah.
we got to get away from these ants. We better repel. All right, make sure your harness are acting. Make sure your clips are clipped. I'm collecting my things. I'm just collecting my things.
Did you also like that? You remember how like all the other Indiana Jones movies, when something bad's about to happen, all the bad guys go like, no, right? Like whatever. Like
Yeah.
when he's cutting the bridge, all the guys are like, no, you're cutting the bridge. Like they all start freaking out.
Yeah.
They all see that the tree is about to come up on them, and
And
they're
they
just
just
like,
No. Oh, that's gonna be bad.
yeah, like, oh, that's gonna suck.
Wow. I should probably loosen my grip a little bit.
Yeah, right.
I'd hate to hold on extra firm. Did you catch the Wilhelm scream too?
Yes.
In the library, right?
Yeah. Oh,
It was ridiculous. I forgot about that. He just were talking about people yelling. Yeah, I do like that scene. So, like with Miriam, because like she drives by first and she sees that tree in
yes.
the river,
Yes.
and it's like,
Yes.
okay, so like that's part of her
That's
plan.
a good setup. It's a good setup.
And I love the look on her face, like after, like they're in the river.
God.
She's like super
Yeah,
proud of herself, and it's like, yeah, I kind of liked it. It kind of reminded me of why I liked her more in,
yeah, than any
Raiders.
of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because she was smart. She
actually did stuff.
Well, and I think honestly, it's not necessarily Karen Allen or Miriam. It's like she was written well. Is really the reality of it. It's like
Yeah. Oh, Wendy.
oh,
Oh my god. Yeah.
So once once I knew they had to
times
go
it
down
drops.
three waterfalls, I legitimately started to check out from the movie.
Yeah.
I literally kind of stopped paying as
Ugh.
much attention to it
Ugh. What a
because I'm
loser.
almost positive things like going over Niagara Falls is like you would die from that.
Oh,
Like
you
you're
would die.
not going to be.
The
And
first
also like
so like the first one when they all kind of fall out and then
is right,
they climb back in. But that last one where like
right.
they're all free falling and the car is gonna fall and the car is gonna fall on top of them, and it's just like, okay.
And also like you have no idea how many rocks and jagged stones
You
are
don't even know
down
how
there.
deep the water is. The next thing it shows
Right.
them like getting out and they're like, oh, that's like up to their waist. You're like, well, better
Yeah.
get out of this. Oh wow.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a little bit much, I think.
A little bit much.
Yeah.
Then I didn't understand why the Mayan or Aztec guys were like they hid inside brokeable skull pieces.
That was so stupid.
I was like, do they make these all the time or do they
Yeah. Oh
just
yeah.
sleep
No,
in
they
there or
no,
something?
they make them when they climb in and then they build those from the inside. Yeah.
Because it's
Yeah.
like, well, Oxley was here.
Yeah.
So didn't they come out of the wall already?
I don't understand. I don't understand what you're confused about. They rebuild those every single time they hide.
Everything. Yeah.
See, that was stupid to me too, because like I like ancient civilizations like Eldor. So this is supposed to be El Dorado.
Right.
And it's like, okay, so there's people here. But like, what do? They obviously
Yeah, they
like don't. They just like live
just
in the
hang out on the
walls.
walls. Right. Yeah.
But so the beginning of the movie, they kind of they say something about the natives there are like undead essentially,
Hmm.
right? Isn't that what they say? It's guarded by the undead or half alive, half.
Something. Yeah. They say something about them. I don't know. I
It would
don't
just been so
remember.
much better if it's like a hidden civilization of like Aztec people that just like,
Yeah.
like there's
I
farm,
think it would have been awesome if he got to the top of those stairs and they looked and there was literally like a village
yeah.
around the temple thing that they eventually run to. And
Mm-hmm.
when they come out, when they get up there, all of a sudden there's guards and they're just like, oh, like people are here again. And they run after them. And then they tie him up and they get him. And then they show the skull and they back off and they go into the other temple. It's like, to
Think
me,
about
that would
like
have made.
Uncharted 2. Yeah,
Okay.
2. Yeah, it's got to be 2. They finally get to that hidden valley where they're trying to look for
Okay.
the Umami stone. No, I can't remember. It's the heart of the tree, essentially. But like,
Oh, yeah.
it's like that. It's kind of like El Dorado, but
Yeah.
you think it's uninhabited, and then some dude gets shot with an arrow, and then
Yes.
like now you have to fight like the indigenous people, and they're like all like powerful because they've been drinking the water from that tree. And
Yeah.
it's just kind of like the place looks abandoned, but it's not.
Right. Right.
Like
Right.
I love it. Like you could just do that,
Sure.
you know? I don't know. It's just interesting. A lot of interesting choices that
Yeah. That
yeah.
aren't in the other Indiana Jones movies.
No.
Like, there's nothing to be like, well, that's very similar to this thing. Like, no, it's not. Um, I like the sand thing and the stairs. That was fine. I'm going down the stairs. That was okay.
To lay their just hands on that golden key that opens the palace of eternity.
Yes. 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 Wow. Yes.
So I I like that. I like when I like how Oxley's crazy and they're doing stuff, and like he just will randomly like say part of the riddle like on the map. I really like that. I like
Yeah. 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 That was totally fine.
Yeah.
And I got bought back in. They got me back in when they showed the collector's room. I really liked
That's
that
cool,
he
right?
was like, oh, they were archaeologists and
But
like they
okay,
weren't just nefarious, bad, like evil aliens to blow things up. They liked
that's the
history
thing,
and
right? So that's the thing.
yeah,
They make it sound like they had me going both ways. Is like it sounded like it was the people from El Dorado like worship the aliens as like their gods, and
right,
like they were the ones that built the tomb. But then come to find out the tomb is a spaceship, and
right.
the door opens specifically for like an alien walking like into it, like that they have to put the skull in the skull part.
Oh, right,
But
right,
like only an alien could open that door because they have to like walk up to it and it opens.
right.
So it's like I got very confused in that scene where what they were trying to say. Like I thought they were, like you said, I thought they were telling it like the aliens were archaeologists. They had their storeroom of stuff.
Right.
It's just interesting that once they finally put the skull back, they just like destroy all that stuff.
Yes.
So it's like I guess they didn't really care too much about it. How did
You
this?
almost get the I was just
How
saying,
did
you
the
almost get the
skull?
impression
No,
that
go ahead.
they stuff on like on the ship, like on top of
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Well, I think that inner chamber that they were all sitting in is supposed to be like the bridge or the engine room or something,
I
because
don't
they
know.
looked up into the engine chamber.
I almost feel like they don't explain it, but I almost feel like they died and then the Mayans like made them or something, or I don't know what happened there.
Yeah, because yeah, their skeletons got in there somehow, like in the chamber.
That's the weird thing that she says too, is like,
They're
oh, it
waiting.
makes sense. It makes sense that they
They're a
have
hive mind, she says.
physically 13 beings, but or maybe mentally 13 beings, but physically one being. Because that's why they all mash together and become one alien.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's just a lot of like, okay. It's a lot like she knows, way too much. Like she doesn't, why would she know that? And then even like Oxley's like, oh, that's a portal to a different dimension. It's like, but then they get out of there and it's a ship. It's like it's a ship.
Right. Well, here's the funny thing is here's the funny you can I know you'll understand and get what I mean. So we started with the stones. When the stones are together, they glow. And the village needs them back because they bring prosperity and awesomeness to the village.
It was aliens the whole time.
We don't see the village be brought back to its original state, right? He just brings the stones back and the kids come back. That's it. There's no beautiful, lush garden, nothing.
Yeah.
The Lost Ark. It's like, hey, man, you're messing with something and you're trying to talk to God. Like, that's maybe a bad thing to be doing. You're Nazis. This ain't cool. They open it up. It's nothing. A giant storm happens overhead, and they all get melted by lightning. And there's nothing else. And then everything seals, and we're done. Last Crusade. The Knight explains. You can't leave. The cup can't leave the seal, and you have to choose the right Grail. And you put water, and you choose wisely, and it's the cup of life. Right? That's it. It's super well explained. You get to this alien thing at the end. You understand what's happening. You understand that these aliens came and they interacted with the Mayans or whoever, and they taught them industry like animal husbandry and farming and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And you're like, wow, amazing, amazing. And then you're like, okay, they collected things. They're archaeologists, just like Indiana Jones. Amazing. That's interesting. Why wouldn't they? And then you get into the thing, and you're like, why are there 13 of them? Why are they skeletons? Why do all the skeletons come together to make one alien? Why does he just murder her? It's like he gives her all the information, but like, why does she have to die?
Why? Yeah.
It's like, what is the portal? What's the portal opening up to? It's like
the port. So to me, it's like my understanding is that like the portal is just the engine of the ship. that those Russians
Okay.
get sucked
Is that what you
into.
said? Okay.
Yeah, and then I also believe that like humans can't comprehend that type of knowledge. So like her
Sure.
brain
Sure.
essentially explodes. But the alien seems very like vindictive
He seems,
almost. Like he's very
yeah, he
like
seems
he's
mean.
very happy that yeah, and it so the other thing too is that you're left with is like how did the skull get removed from there?
Right.
If all those if they were all together in the first place, why are they still there? Because
Right.
like obviously that last skull makes them form back into a fleshly being. So like
Right.
if they were all there to begin with, there wouldn't even be a ship there.
Right.
So like
And
what the heck
and
like
that's
what
and that's the thing I don't understand is like in all the other Indiana Jones movies, like they explain what the relic, they
yeah.
explain everything. You're not left wondering in any of the movies, like, well, what does this mean? Like who, like it's you're not guessing anything. You understand it.
Yeah. Well, the other thing too that's weird is like when she does the autopsy on that alien body that she has.
Mm-hmm.
She opens up the head, right, and you can see the skull is glowing.
Yeah.
So like that alien has its complete like skull system still engaged. So it's
Right.
like so you're like, okay, so this is a species of alien.
Right.
But the 13 are like the 12 are essentially waiting for that lost skull.
Right.
But there's like other so like there's the one that crashed in Roswell. It was the same species. Like, why did he crash in Roswell? What were they doing? You know?
Right.
And she said there's like other ones from like Russia that they've got. It's like, okay. Like I get that you're tying into like real world events of like crash,
Right.
like UFOs, but like now you're just like, what were they? What were they doing
Yeah.
there? Why did they come back to Earth? What the I don't understand.
And that's the thing. I feel like they feel like whoever Lucas who wrote it or Steven who directed it to be like explain it, explain why.
Yeah.
It's like don't just be like, well, aliens are a mystery and we never understand why we see UFOs. It's like no, just explain it,
Yeah,
make
explain
it
it.
up.
Yeah.
Who cares? Who cares?
Because
Like
they pulled so much like real world like theory of like aliens, like
exactly, of
helping build the
course,
pyramids, helping the Mayans build their civilization. It's like they pulled in all this weird like conspiracy stuff like regarding aliens and like military cover up and Roswell and all that stuff. And then you
yep.
finally get to the end and they're just like, yeah, I don't know.
Like,
It
yeah, we're
just
not going to
is.
explain any of it.
Like,
It's
oh,
just they're
okay.
aliens.
Well, cool. Yeah.
And I feel like Max death is just
Yeah. 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 I don't know.
it's just like it's fine that he
Stupid.
dies. I don't care. It's more of like
It just
it's like
shows
are
you
you trying? Yeah,
he didn't even need to be in the movie to begin with,
right,
really. You know?
exactly. And it also was like, are you trying to make us be like, well, Indiana is a good character. He's a good guy. He's not going to leave Mac to die. Like we already know Indiana's a good guy. Like I don't need more evidence that he's a good guy. Like
I
right,
hate anytime in any movie where there's a scene where there's somebody doing something stupid. So like Max is going around and grabbing
oh
gold
yeah,
and stuff. And it's like, yeah, I get that. I totally get that. Like I would probably
whatever,
grab a
right,
couple things on the way out.
right,
But he's there stuffing his pockets. And the whole thing is like falling apart. And Indy goes like back and like throws him his whip. And they have this long conversation. And
yeah,
he's like, nah, I'm not gonna man, I'm just gonna slow you guys down. Essentially, he's like, I'm just gonna slow you guys
right,
down. Go on, and they just like freeze on that. It's like if you just shut up and you'd be right behind it, like you'd be right with them. It's this
yeah,
long like scene to be like, it's okay, go without me. And they just pause. Like, oh, okay. It's like, dude, like those scenes to me are always so stupid.
yeah.
It's
I
like
agree.
if you just would shut up and
Yeah,
just pull on the whip and get up there, you would have been out. Like I don't get
fine.
what the point is. It's like you're sacrificing your life for nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a little stupid.
I think
But
honestly, it would have
yeah,
just been better if he was in the thing getting stuff and Indiana was like, come on, man. And he was like, one more thing, one more thing. And then either Indiana goes the whip, like throws the whip for him to grab onto, or he just gets sucked into the thing. And then Indiana's like, well, geez,
Yeah.
type of thing where it's like, yeah, you just should let the audience go like, yes, greed is not worth it, right?
Yeah.
Like you just let the audience come to its own natural.
Yeah, you're selling the audience that greed is bad. Meanwhile, you're making a fourth Indiana Jones movie when Harrison Ford's 85 years old. Yeah, money is terrible.
Never. Knowledge is bad and money is bad.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah.
You know what? The only thing I will tell you, it was cool to see the UFO rip open the ground and all that. I did like that.
Well, the thing I liked about that too is
like
that
visually.
I like how Oxley is immediately like back to normal.
Yeah.
After he gets rid of the skull. But then when the UFO takes off and all the water fills back in, he says like a broom covering their tracks. And
Yeah.
like, oh, that's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, yeah.
Like getting rid of the evidence, like they get rid of the evidence. Plus, it also remembers like when they had used the broom to clean his jail cell to see the tomb that he carved in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I liked that. It
then
it was
The
funny.
wedding.
Oh yeah, I don't care. So
No, I'm just saying, like, and then it was
yeah.
fun.
So that was it.
And it was done.
Yeah. So yeah, it's funny. Like leading up to this, we were kind of dreading it, but in reality, like it wasn't. It wasn't as bad as I remembered it. Plus, I know for sure that I'm gonna eat my words. I said in the last episode, I said that Dial cannot be any worse than Crystal Skull, and I don't know. I think it's gonna be. I think I'm gonna be eating those words pretty good.
My impression is that they are going to find this piece of ancient technology, which is like a time machine, the Dial of Destiny, whatever it is. And it's a thing where it allows people to travel through time.
Mm-hmm. It's
but the
Cable's watch from Deadpool.
Right. And the only thing that is the only way to get this to work is you need like direct UV light or I don't know, something weird about dealing with space. Let's put it that way. Okay.
Yeah.
Only way for it to get it to work is it has to interact with something in space. So that's how they bring in Operation Paperclip. Why the Nazis are going to use this thing and put the Dial of Destiny on a rocket and allow something to happen where they're able to send information to the Nazis in the 1930s and 40s so that they can actually take over the world. And Indiana's going to get wind of this via the girl, and they're going to go to stop it. And then they're going to get transported back in time, and that's when you're going to get like young Indiana fighting Nazis in the 30s and 40s.
Yeah,
I literally think that's what's going to happen.
I'm really bummed out that it's Nazis again.
Yeah.
It's just overplayed, and it's just easy.
Yeah.
But
I'm curious to see what they're going to do. I mean, I'll go along for the ride. We'll see what they're going to do. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have any expectations now. I just kind of hit a wall. You know what I mean? It's kind of like I when we first started this, I was excited. And it's just like the closer we've gotten, like the more stuff that like we've heard that just kind of makes us like roll our eyes a little bit,
But
and now after watching this specifically, like this was my like dreaded movie in the series, and now like that we've watched it and it's over, we're like, yeah, it's not bad. And now it's like it can't go anywhere but down. Like it's still gonna go down from
Yeah.
here.
I know.
So that's got me bummed. I rather would go see Beast Wars. I'd rather go see Fast X, to be honest.
No, you wouldn't. No, you
No,
wouldn't.
no, I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding. I would not.
I think I am hoping, and I know I'm probably gonna eat my hat too with this,
Yeah.
but I'm hoping that the stuff that's coming out is much like what they've been saying for other movies that you and I liked.
Mm-hmm.
Where they're like, it's garbage and it's terrible and it's stupid, and then we go to see it and we're like, it's fine. You know, that's what I'm hoping.
Yeah. What I'm hoping for is a Jurassic Park Dominion situation where we leave the theater and we're like, that was pretty good. That was pretty good. And then like 6 months later, we look at each other and we go, that movie sucked. that grasshopper stuff was terrible.
Yeah. I didn't like the grasshopper stuff when we saw it, but the rest of it, honestly, I just felt like they just underused the park people, and it just never genuinely got that scary.
No,
I never felt like there was actual what do you call it? Like risk.
no, and so the thing too is like I love Chris Pratt, but it's just by Dominion, I got so sick of the whole like putting his hands up and like stopping dinosaurs from things. It's just like, okay. In Jurassic World, you know, when it's like it shows him like training the raptors, like okay, that's cool. Like I get it. But like anytime you're in the real world, it's just like, dude, that's so stupid. And they just every chance they get, they do it.
Every
like,
chance they could do it.
Enough of that. But yeah, I mean, honestly, if it wasn't for like Jeff Goldblum and the original guys coming back, I wouldn't have.
Yeah,
really been
I don't
like
know if
super
I
hyped
would
on
have.
it.
I don't think looking back, if the original cast or parts of the original cast weren't returning, it was just number 3 Chris Pratt movie. Don't think I would have been like, hey man, let's watch all 5 of these movies and then talk. Like, I would have just been like, whatever. Like, we'll watch the first 2 maybe and then go see it. Like, who cares?
Well, I'm glad we did the series because you learned that
you
were wrong. You were wrong about Lost World.
So wrong. So wrong. It was terribly wrong.
And I genuinely really love Jurassic World too.
Mm-hmm.
Like I really, really, really like that one.
Yeah.
And then after that, they all kind of. I don't have any interest in rewatching those.
It's like the Star Wars.
Yeah, it's like the Star Wars. Yeah.
It's like, hey, you know what's really good? A New Hope's really good. You're like, I love Jurassic Park. You're like, you know what's a stupid movie? Empire Strikes Back. Then you watch it, you're like, I love Empire Strikes Back. And you're like, you know, it's a really decent movie, but I always remember it as a kid loving it, but I think as an adult, it's not that good. Is Return of the Jedi. You're like, it's still kind of the same. As a kid, I loved it, but it's like, right. Then you're like, oh, Force Awakens. I love Force Awakens. It's like, yeah, Jurassic World was pretty cool. And then you're like, hey, remember Fallen Kingdom? Like, we don't talk about Fallen Kingdom. That was garbage. And you're like, yeah, what about Rise of Skywalker? And you're like, I love that movie when we walk out. And then you're like, 6 months later, you're like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah. The only difference is when we left the theater seeing Rise, I was like, this is unbelievable.
Yeah. You know, honestly, I know we talk about it every time. I could have gone for the ride. I could have. I was sticking it out. I didn't want to see it. I could care less about it. My dad wanted to see it. I obliged my
that's
father.
His generation. I mean,
right.
Like you said, that's his Marvel. That's his Iron Man. Into Endgame.
And I was like, yeah, okay. And I was like, whatever. And I did it, and I was sticking it out, and I was like, this is much better than Last Jedi, but whatever. And then she was like, no, I'm Skywalker. And I was like, no.
That's
like, it ruins the movie for
Can't
me.
you can't start talking about this with me. It just
Okay,
makes
I'm
me
sorry.
it makes me so mad because it's like
Dial.
because it's this thing where it's like at the end the whole movie, like everything that we love about Star Wars has been undone. It's been undone by that movie.
Yeah,
Everything. Vader sacrifice, Luke sacrifice, it's all out the window. It doesn't matter.
doesn't matter.
Palpatine's still alive. Who cares? Ray,
Yeah.
the whole story about Ray is that like it doesn't matter where you come from, you can be a good
No.
person and do the right
Yeah.
thing. And then the end,
Doesn't
she
matter what your name
doesn't
is.
stick to her name. She takes somebody else's name who has paved the way. And then it's because the directors just didn't have enough like gumption to just say it's called The Rise of Palpatine. But we're just leaning into
Right.
it. You've seen the trailer, you've seen Palpatine's back. We have no ideas. The movie's called Rise of Palpatine. Just lean into it, man.
Right.
Like what's that? The whole message is it doesn't matter where like the family you come from, your father or grandfather could be Hitler. But if you say, you know what, I'm gonna help the Jews and protect the Jews because that's the right thing to do, then you just say, yeah, my last name's Hitler. But I don't have nothing to do with that, you know?
Right. Like I'm changing the stereotype, right? I'm changing
But at
it.
the end of that, but it's the end of that, and you say,
Right.
oh well, my name's, Caleb Gandhi. Like screw you. It's like, screw you.
That's your name. That's your name for Dial of Destiny, by the way. Just let
Caleb
me know.
Gandhi. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Hitler, Caleb Hitler.
You can't stop it. You can't stop.
But do I sign it in English or in German?
You sign it in Ukrainian. You get the highest marks. Yeah. Oh gosh. No, I know.
Cool.
I know. I can't wait till us go back and watch them all. That's gonna be good. I just did that to watch the black and white color leave your face.
Uh-huh.
Oh.
Uh-huh.
You're so funny.
Yeah. So funny. So funny.
Mm.
Oh boy. It's pretty good.
Oh, sepia.
Oh man. Good stuff. This makes me want to go back and watch all the X-Files though.
Yes, I want to believe.
I want to believe everything.
I need to believe everything.
I want to believe everything.
Yeah.
I want to know. I want to see all my enemies from overseas and not to know what is going on. It's like, what makes you think the aliens have any, like, they don't know any of that stuff? They have, like, past knowledge and historical knowledge and technology knowledge. And she's like, I want to be able to sit in my living room and know what the Americans are doing over there. It's like, that's not how. Okay.
He's like, hey, do you want to know how to plant tomatoes?
No. I do not do tomatoes.
Like, well, I don't.
I want to know how to build nukes.
He's like, I don't know what that is.
Yeah. And he's like,
I could show you how to make cheese, though.
We travel through the galaxy and make like first contact with like civilizations that don't have warp technology.
Yeah.
But I want to make a rocket ship with missiles.
Yep.
Got it. Yeah. That's funny. Well, that's that was Indy and the Crystal Skull. That was a more positive review than I thought we were going to do. So
yeah.
And if you guys are wanting to go back and watch these, we probably should have said this to begin with, but like if you have Paramount, they're all on Paramount.
Oh no. Are they on Paramount? Because they just came to Disney Plus.
I've been watching them on Paramount.
Oh, they literally like June 1st came to Disney Plus.
I looked on Disney Plus today because I thought that's where I've been watching them, and I typed in like Indiana and nothing came up. So I
Really?
went back to Paramount, and that's where they all were for me. That's where I've been watching.
Oh, because I watched Crystal Skull on Disney last night.
Really?
Yeah.
That's weird. I literally just looked for it today. It wasn't nothing. Nothing came up. But Paramount has them. Yeah, they're all on Paramount.
Oh, weird.
Yep.
Hmm.
Yep. That's where I watch. That's where I watch Star Trek and Indiana Jones, baby.
The greatest things that Paramount has to offer.
Man, you're not kidding.
Yeah, I see it on Paramount. Okay, let me go over here. Boom. Wouldn't it be funny if they were only up there for like a week and then Disney and Paramount took them back.
I thought I thought I watched them on Disney Plus originally, but then yeah, I didn't see them.
Yeah.
Nothing? No.
It's Disney.
Weird.
And it also has the thing I like that Disney has is the young adventures of Indiana Jones.
Ooh.
The TV series, yeah.
One season.
One season.
Why didn't they never make like a cartoon series or like a modernized like video game?
I don't know.
Because it wasn't part of my original. I don't know. It is one of those things too. Like, I don't think they could make an Indiana Jones game that would be as good as like Uncharted series. It would just be the character.
I used to play one and it was pretty good. It was like this I don't remember what it was called. It was for PlayStation. I played it. It was pretty decent.
Oh. Yeah, it just reminds me of the
I don't remember what it was
Jurassic Park game on Sega.
called. Oh god.
Remember you could play as Alan or as the Raptor?
Yeah, it was a brutal game.
It was tough, yeah. It was pretty cool though.
It was cool.
Well, that will wrap it up.
Does rip.
We
We've
got
covered it all.
one more indie movie. It's the end of the month, right? It comes out the end of this month.
Yeah, end of the month.
So if you don't see another one in this series, if the series ends here, you're welcome. Thank you. Fortune and glory, Will. Fortune and glory.
Yeah. It may belong in a museum.
That last one probably won't belong in a museum.
It might not.
The lowest grossing movie of all time. It's in the museum. Now, there's a couple others that would probably be there too. So, yeah. So that's going to do it for us this week. This series is coming to a close. One more episode. And yeah, we got some cool stuff in the works. Will, why don't you plug your channel? Are you froze?
No. I have
No.
my channel Via9 Capta. Over there, I am currently updating it a lot more frequently because I'm running a weekly Star Trek rewatch for me and a first watch for Caleb for the most part.
Yes.
And so we cover an episode of Star Trek each week. Currently, we are in Strange New Worlds because we're watching it chronologically. Caleb's just come off of Star Trek Enterprise. So we're watching it kind of beat for beat. And that's what we'll be doing weekly. And then somewhere in there will be the other thing that Caleb joins me with is the Star Trek Adventures RPG. It's basically a tabletop RPG with Star Trek elements. So he plays a doctor character and an engineer character. I'm the game master, and a couple of our other buddies join us to basically go through the random missions that I've created for these guys and try to make it fun and interesting. Make my stuff come to life, which is nice.
Yeah, it's a good time. It's a good time. Sometimes we're pretty funny. Sometimes we're all tired and dreading going to work Monday. So sometimes they're good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've
Depends on
literally.
how interesting I've made the mission too.
Well, yeah, it's never your fault. It's always Andrew.
Yeah.
I literally have watched so much like Enterprise that I'll walk into my kitchen and I'll go, tea, Earl Grey, hot, and nothing happens. I'm like, oh, that's right. I have to make it myself.
I can make it myself.
It's crap, is what it is. So yeah, I mean, honestly, Strange New Worlds has been pretty rad, I will say.
It's a good
First
show.
episode was very good, and I'm like dying to watch the second episode.
Yeah.
I kind of binged like Enterprise, like all 4 seasons
Yeah,
of
right.
Enterprise.
Like right at the end. Yeah, you were mass
Yeah.
consuming.
So now I'm just like down to 1 a week, and it's like torture. It's torture.
Well, it's the thing I look at it too is like we also cover movies and stuff, so
We do a lot of stuff.
it's a good spacing out too.
I think too, if
Is
we
that-
ever when we get into like the Kirk stuff, I think those I'll have to do kind of like we've been doing for like Dragon Ball is watch like 3 or 4 at a time, just to kind of plow through them a little bit too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For my sanity. So,
Yeah,
because they're
I
long.
think, yeah, they're long, but I also think that like I think just like how you sat through the cage and you weren't like, oh, I want to pull my eyes out.
Yeah.
I think you're gonna find a lot of the episodes I have you watch are similar to that. They're
Okay.
and they're more put together. They're not.
Well,
I'm not having
yeah,
you
you-
watch like the absolute like. You're not
As
watching.
long as I get to
everything
watch the
because
Trouble with Tribbles, I'm all over.
I'm pretty sure that's in there.
Yeah, Will's like,
I would
no,
admit.
no, that doesn't tie into anything.
No, I don't think that's in it at all. No, it
Oh,
is. Yeah,
man.
it's there. Yeah.
Okay, good. That's the only one I know. Yeah, no, I'm fine. You would know best, so I'll follow your lead on that.
Yeah, most of them, like, there's about probably 4 or 5 of them having you just watch for the sake of watching them, kind of like the cage. It's like you need to see this
Yeah.
to get like the Star Trek feel. Like, I want you to see the first episode that aired. It's not the strongest episode, but like it's the first thing
Yeah,
that,
it's historical too. It's
people saw.
yeah.
And I'm honestly I'm curious of your opinion about it because like just how you view it is how everybody in 1966 would have thought like what is this like why
Yeah.
questions and so
Yeah,
that's what
it's
I
cool.
like a lot about it too is like you like sci-fi stuff, you like stories, you like weird stuff just like I do, so it's nice to have somebody just watch it and like try to pull it apart in a good way. Because like Adri
Yeah.
watching it was fine, but Adri was more watching it just to like appease me and just
Mhm.
like have something to talk about with me. But you're actually like trying to also pull it apart
Yeah.
and be like, well, what really is making this happen?
Yeah, and my biggest thing too is like I try not to be like super annoying, but like my thing is always going to be, oh, this reminds me of Enterprise, or this is,
No, that's what I want. That's the
You
whole
know.
point. That's why we're doing it this way.
but that's what was cool about.
I want you to watch. I want you to watch Star Trek this way and compare it to Enterprise because that's the way to watch it now. Because otherwise, if you start with the Kirk stuff and watch up to Enterprise, Enterprise ends up being like, well, why are these things like this? This doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense. But when you watch it the other way around, it's just like, oh, well, that's weird that the Vulcans are like this now, or oh, that's weird that the Klingons do this now. And you just chalk it up to that. You just chalk it up to like, well, it's been over 100 years. Of course, they're different. Instead of
Yeah.
vice versa, you're like, this doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
If you watch it chronologically, Enterprise is like a really really weak series in the Star Trek franchise. But when you watch it chronologically, it's like kind of the best of the bunch. So
Yeah, I mean, we've probably talked about it before too, but it's like the Captain Kirk stuff was always like, even when I was a kid, it was so like gimmicky,
Yeah. yes,
It was kind of
it's
like why I
cheesy.
don't watch Doctor Who. It's just because it's just
Oh, yeah.
so
Yeah.
kind of cheesy, but honestly, Enterprise, like you had me watch a couple of those just so I could understand like my characters on the RPG game,
Right.
and like it just like hooked me. Like honestly, it just hooked me. The whole like era, like the space race era, like the first
Mhm.
like ship into space, first contact, like how everything is basically like a submarine in outer space, and it's just
Yeah.
there's so many great, like very
Oh yeah.
strong characters. I mean, Trip is the engineer. I mean, it like makes me want to be an engineer.
Yeah.
Malcolm as like security is great. You know, Archer is a fantastic captain. T'Pol like is a great science officer. Like I just everybody, they're just so super strong characters. You know,
Yep. I agree.
and it makes me sad. Like every time I hear my playlist on Spotify, I have the song, the theme song from Enterprise,
Oh.
and it like it just it
Oh
does
yeah.
something to me. You know, it's this like powerful like reach for the stars, and like you're not gonna tell me that like I can't like be like
'Cause
who
you
my
think
father wanted me to be, and his dream
right,
will
and you
like live in. That's just like it's just like it's like Archer's song, man. It's just I can't even explain it.
yeah. No, and that and like the whole like you think about all the clips they show of humanity and
Mm-hmm.
just
Great, man.
like people are like, no, you know what? I'm gonna keep pushing and I'm gonna keep doing it. And it's like and if it wasn't for these people making these leaps
Yeah,
and strides, it's like we wouldn't have had space
yeah,
exploration. We wouldn't have all of these cool things. So
yeah. That's true. Yeah, it's cool.
it ties
That's
in
a
both,
great
like you're saying. It
message.
ties into Archer, but it also ties into like
Yeah.
humanity. It's a good
But
it's a
Star
good
Trek has
thing.
always been that like great message show where like look how great everything would be if like everybody cared about the
If we
same
just
thing.
worked together. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, it's always been that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Star Wars has always been, you know, it's outer space, there's gunslingers, there's bounty
Different
hunters,
type
it's
of story.
dirty and gritty, and like I love that stuff too. But
It's just a different story. It's a different
Star
telling
Trek is just a
of
better
space
message, you know.
adventures.
Yeah,
Yeah. Just different. It's
yeah,
just different. They're not I
it
don't
is.
that's the thing I've always gotten annoyed with people compare Star Trek and Star Wars. It's like it's just not. They're not the same thing.
And I've been guilty of that too. I think it's just because like I didn't like super understand it. It's just because you know, you think you're cooler. You think you're a cooler for like in Star Wars because like I
Yeah.
said, bounty hunters are sweet and gunslingers are cool and space
Lightsabers are
samurais are
awesome.
awesome.
Right, right. Yeah.
And then you go over there and they're like, "Oh, we have phasers and we have communicators." And it's like, "Oh, get out of here. You guys are losers, nerds."
Nerds.
Like, but no, like, dude, it's got such a great like heart and
It's just a
message
different
and
vibe.
like
Yeah, it's a different
humanity,
vibe.
like like humanity is great. Like you need humans in outer space. It's great. Anyway, but if you want to hear more about that stuff, go to Vietnam Capta, watch our videos. We go like in depth on
Yeah.
Star Trek, you know. And then coming out on this channel on the 19th, you might see this before the you should see this before the 19th. On the 19th, we are starting a new series on here, the Dragon Ball Watch series. Will has never seen Dragon Ball, and I love everything Dragon Ball. So we're doing that. We're doing a watch thing, and we're like I said, we did the first what 7? Yeah.
Yeah.
We do the first 7, then we're gonna do this. So we're basically gonna do 2 episodes will be a full season, technically. Maybe. I think that's how it works out.
Yeah, yeah. Next time we
Yeah.
get together, we'll finish that like
Finish season 1.
storyline. Yeah.
Yeah. So right now we're in the middle of the Emperor Pilaf saga. Yeah. So yeah, that was fun. I'm dying to
Yeah.
do another one. So that'll be like once a month. We'll do one of those once a month, probably. Unless we get like a crazy amount of time.
Yeah, true. Yeah, if we just
maybe in the winter time we'll do 2 a month.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, if we get just too much time, yeah, might as well.
Yeah. I really hope we get like too much time here or there. That would be nice. I've never had too much time.
No.
Oh man. All right, so that is it. So if you guys like the video, ring the bell for notifications, subscribe if you haven't, all that stuff. But also comment, tell us like what you guys think of Crystal Skull, the Indiana Jones franchise so far, and if you're worried or if you're looking forward to Dial of Destiny.
Yeah, let us know.
Yeah, let us know. We're interested to see what everybody thinks. I mean, we're just two dudes, you know.
Yeah, we might even read your comment if you comment.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I would love to do like an engage, you know,
Yeah.
engage audience. That'd be cool. Do like read a couple listener comments, questions. I would
Yeah.
love that. Honestly, that would be cool.
Yeah, it's fun.
So, yeah. So
Write
that
in
will
your
wrap it up.
ideas.
Yeah. Or if there's a series, like if you want us to watch all the Transformers,
true.
you know, yeah.
True. Or all the Fast and the Furious, right?
Oh
Yeah.
no, don't no, that won't happen.
Yeah. I mean, maybe.
It won't happen. It's not gonna happen. You're crazy. Oh man. All right. Well, that is us. That's the Nerd Holes signing off. 3 times it drops.
It definitely does.
Through tears I saw.
It was
golden
the thing that
compass.
drops is my heart. My heart drops 3 times.
I got nothing. All right, bye.
Ah.
I want to see everything.
What about the
I can talk.
wildfires that are affecting the Northeast pretty heavily?
What about the Timbit fire of 23, huh? That's pretty bad. Oh, sorry about all that smoke up there. That's what
Oh,
us.
sorry.
Oh, that's our bed. Oh, don't you know?
But the smells are sweet because of the maple.
Oh, sorry about that. A bunch of maple trees caught up on smoke up there, don't you know? Hope it's not doing too bad down there for you. It sure ain't doing our wildlife a whole hell of a
Sorry.
bunch up here.
Yeah.
We lost 10 Tim Hortons.
Yeah.
So stupid. Okay.